You mentioned compliance. I think compliance is a major issue we've seen for cannabis businesses, where companies try to balance growth while ensuring to meet standards from your seed tracking, from your GMP compliances, from your API development to legal standard. What are common mistakes you would advise to entrepreneurs who shouldn't make when they're trying to enter the cannabis space and trying to figure out the value propositions on the medical side of things?
The mistakes is, well, have enough cash in the bank. but I think in the early days, because the supply chain wasn't in existence, there was a need to be virtually integrated, the need to do distribution, the need to do cultivation, the need to do X, Y, and Z. That doesn't exist anymore. You don't need to do everything. There's a reason why some of the best companies in the world focus on a particular area of expertise. So I think understanding your fit in the market is key. The grass is always greener. This perspective of seeing shiny things and wanting to, entrepreneurs are attracted to fast moving spaces. So it's easy to get distracted, but the reality is, there is a high cost of growing a category or growing a market. And by diversifying that focus too much, you've seen it with cultivators who then try and become technology companies, and yet they still have their cultivation. The pile-on of costs and the dilution of expertise is a real risk. And the best companies in existence haven't really changed their value proposition in the last 5, 6, 7 years. They are, look, what we do is we get your product into the country, we package it, and we get it to wholesalers. Or, we take care of patients getting it to the last mile. Now, you can add on bits into the business, but the reality is, the best businesses have a very, very, very clear focus and know their value proposition. You're not going to generate massive revenue, and this is why the anticipation is to acquire more revenue, et cetera, through different verticals. I haven't seen too many cases where that has fared that well for a lot of companies. Certainly, like post M&A integration is always overlooked, and the level of degree of success of M&A is fairly low in an existing environment. Move that into a cannabis space. I think that is, the consolidation needs to happen because there's too many companies with too little capital spread around. So consolidation definitely needs to happen. Consolidation should be about reducing the services and offering and focus rather than adding to it. That's certainly from my experience. So I've built other companies in the sector. So Life Group in the UK, which is one of the leading cannabis companies in the UK. So I've learned from painful experience of putting my own money out there and of making those mistakes. So I'm not speaking as a consultant. I'm speaking from someone who is paid for those lessons.
You're a practitioner, so I think it's the constant feedback loops, and I think I get your point around the golden advice that we shouldn't try to enter all the doors. We need to, when we are trying to make businesses in the cannabis space, is try to bring focus and try to get that product market fit correct, and then base off your behavior and your belief onto scaling up that value proposition, as opposed to trying to do all things at the same time, which we've seen also in the West of the phase of Cannabis 1.0 when the industry crashed. It was a lot of everybody trying to do everything and over leveraging and over investing from the capital markets that led to the crash. That was a disaster. One thing I've seen in Europe, though, is very, very calculated, very, very careful and risk-averse approach towards the industry and focusing on sustainable growth. That is something that I've seen in the last 3 years as Europe is opening up.